All right, greetings everyone. If you are here for college applications for Black parents, you are in the right spot. My name is Shamika Stevenson Davison, and I will be facilitating this virtual session today. We are recording this session, so for anyone who has registered and they are not able to attend, we will be sending this recording out to them and also you. So feel free to share it with friends, family, and whoever you need to share it with. We're gonna go ahead and get started because I believe in promptly ending at 6 o'clock or maybe even before 6 o'clock. One house rule, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. I don't want you to hold any questions or if something was confusing, concerning, alarming, please put it in the chat. Want to address it as soon as possible. Don't want you to hold it on to the end and then maybe forget. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. And so, again, my name is Shamika Stevenson Davison. I am the founder of Pre-College Solutions, a college readiness coaching and consulting company. I've been working with youth for over 25 years in many capacities. I like to call it youth development. So I've been through two generations of students. For the last 15 of those years, I have been in the college readiness space. And so typically when you do something over a number of years, you're considered an expert. So I consider myself an expert in the college readiness field. I also was able to help co-author a book called You Can Go to College for Free with me and some of my other colleagues a couple of years ago, and which broaden my horizons to just so many different ways that people can pay to go to college. One thing that we say here at Pre-College Solutions is that college prep is financial literacy. And one thing that I've learned in working with different groups of people, different ethnicities of people in the college prep industry is that um, there is a price tag to when you decide you want to go to college, whether you realize it or not. I learned that people that look like me, we always come in at a disadvantage because by the time we start thinking about college or really getting serious about going to college, enrolling in college, we've missed out on several opportunities. There's a lot of knowledge that we don't know beforehand. And so that's why doing workshops like this is very important to me within our community. And so if you're a type A personality like I am, you got to know what's going on. You're like, okay, what is this going to be talking about? When do I tune in? When do I not tune in? And so here is the agenda for today's presentation. We're going to do a little icebreaker in a couple of seconds. We're going to be talking about the college admissions cycle. We're going to be talking about how to get college ready for 9th through 11th graders. And then we're going to talk about the actual college application process for seniors, class of 2026, who are going through this process right now or are going to be starting going through this process right now. We're also going to talk about what happens when you get accepted into college. What do you do after that? And then the most important part of this presentation, what no one tells us, and that is particularly for my Black parents, what we should know prior to getting our babies ready for college. And then lastly, I'll go do a quick overview of some of the pre-college solutions, services, and products that we offer. So let's jump into it with the icebreaker. So, our first icebreaker is called the cost of applying for college. And so there is a price tag when we decide to apply for college, whether we know it or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a picture of something a family or a student will pay for in order for them to apply for college. And in the chat, I would like for you guys to put in how much you think it costs. Like just the estimate of what you think a typical family would pay when you see this item. And then I'll show you what is the average a family pays for it, okay? All right, college applications. What is the average that you think a family pays for college applications? We'll assume that the child is applying to 4 or 5 colleges. So how much do you think a family would pay for college application fees? So if you could put that in the chat, that would be great. Okay, yeah, we got a guess. Somebody guessed. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So the average amount a family typically pays for college applications, if it's about 4 or 5 colleges their child is applying to, is about $200 to $300, and that's the average. That typically depends on the university or the college that a student decides to apply to. I know Texas A&M. I'm in Texas. Texas A&M is about $65 right now. uh TCU, Tarrant, no, Texas Christian University, I think they're like 50, 55. So it depends on the university you decide to apply to and how many of those universities you are applying to. And one thing I like to tell my students is that you don't get the application feedback if you don't get accepted. There's no refund on that. All right, the second thing is the SAT and the ACT test. How much do you think a family typically spends their child's senior year on these tests if they decide to retake it or take it multiple times? What's the average amount? You can put that in the chat. Okay, okay. All right, so let's see. It's about 60 to $150. I'm gonna go more into detail about the SAT and ACT test later, but on the average, those tests are up to 50 to close to $60. And that is if you register on time. If you register late, the fee just goes up and up and up. You could pay for a standby fee if you need to, and it could be up in the hundreds of dollars, just depending on when you want to take your test. And lastly, the test scores submission. So we call this when you sending off your test scores, because any of the universities you apply to, if they require the SAT and or the ACT test scores, you have to send those to them. But there is a fee to send those tests to them. So, what is your guess if a family had to send scores maybe twice to a university? Okay. Okay, and so let's pull up the answer, about 25 to $100. And like I said, it depends on how many times you have to send the test score. If the university you plan on sending it to is what we call super scoring, which means if you've taken the test 4 times and you have better scores in certain sections, the university will take your best scores out of each of those sections and come up with your composite score to see if you will get accepted into their university. But you have to send each of those tests to the university. So if that's 3 tests, 4 tests, you got to send all of that. So that's like maybe 14, $15 for each test being sent, all 3 of those at one time. So that's like maybe 40 something dollars, maybe $45, something like that. So the average family spends about $400 for their senior to apply for college. And this average was done 2024, a little bit after the pandemic. I'm pretty sure it has increased since then, but this is the average, the amount that a family spends on college applications. And most of the time, a lot of parents spend more than that because what happens is we're not familiar with any of the processes. So if there's late fees, then a family probably ends up paying that plus late fees on top of any of those items we just named. All right, so I want to jump into the college admissions cycle, process cycle. That's a term that we've kind of coined because a lot of our students we learned they thought the applying for college was only this part right here, only the college admissions process. Now, the college admissions process, that's applying to college, which is amazing. The probably everybody assumes that's the hardest part, but this is probably the second hardest part of this whole process. When you are a senior, not only are you having to apply for college, like submit those college applications in, those essays, those test scores, all those things. Not only are you doing that, but typically the FAFSA opens. And if you are in the state of Texas, it's a graduation requirement that you complete the FAFSA. Rather your family plans to pay for your college out of pocket or some other way or not, you still have to complete the FAFSA as a graduation requirement. And so because of that, um, not only are you having to apply for college, but you also are having to deal with that. Well, how am I going to pay for college? Am I going to do scholarships? Am I going to get loans? Am I going to work? Am I going to do the FAFSA and hope for federal funds and things like that? So when you come back your senior year, when you start going to college, I'm sorry, going back to high school for your senior year, not only are you dealing with the applying for college, but now you have to deal also with the how am I gonna pay? And these things typically hit you in the fall semester of your senior year. And now while you're going through these cycles, typically the applying for college one, if you're smart, it ends about after the Christmas break. You've done what you're supposed to do. You've applied. You're still going to be figuring this part out, but you've done this process. And then in the spring, once you start hearing back from all these universities and start getting accepted, then you have the, excuse me, then you have the enrolling into college process. And so what we've learned is a lot of students think that once you are accepted into a university, then you're good. You good. You just pop up on campus and do all the things, but there's a process that happens once you have to enroll in college. You have to figure out where you're gonna live, your meal plan. You have to get meningitis shot records. You have to schedule for new student orientation. You have like all these things you have to do before you can even step foot into your first class at that university you're interested in. So typically, the college admissions process cycle lasts your entire senior year if you are a senior. And guess who ends up coming along for that amazing ride? Your parents. Your parents end up getting uh super invested into this process as well. They're going through the motions with you. Rather you get accepted to a school, you don't. You win a scholarship, you don't. You're trying to figure out how to pay. They're trying to determine how to figure out how they're going to help pay. So this is not just a process where the high school senior is doing, but it's also the process where the family is involved as well. And so I always like to put this slide in because a lot of students I work with, they don't understand the different types of colleges. So I'm just gonna briefly go over this really, really quick. Uh, because this is a college application workshop for Black parents, we are very familiar with historically Black colleges and universities, respectively known as HBCUs. There are what I like to call two different types of HBCUs. All of them are amazing in their own respective universities. But there are certain HBCUs which are more well known than others. You have Howard, you have Spelman, you have Clark, you have uh, Prairie View, and the universities in Louisiana, Xavier, which are amazing universities to go to, but they, because there are so many students who want to go to their school, they are considered more competitive. So anyone who does plan on going to those universities, just know they are super competitive, and you may not be able to be accepted into them. And then there are other HBCUs which are amazing as well. Maybe smaller than the other HBCUs that I just named, but they are amazing just as well. And I think because they don't have marketing dollars, a lot of students don't get familiar with them as well. So just know there are two levels of HBCUs. That's one. Number two, there's public and private schools. Public schools are typically the state universities. So any university where it typically has the word state in it is a state university. They're more cost effective. They are funded by the federal government. They are also receive money from the federal government through the financial aid and all of that. So they have to tailor some of their things based on the federal government. And then you have private universities, which are universities that are funded by their donors, by their endowment, and they are very expensive to be connected with. And so they you should look into those as well if a private school is where you would like to be. And then of course there are the Ivy League universities, the more prestigious universities. Just know there are only 8 Ivy League universities. I think people think there are hundreds of them. There are only 8. They're super competitive to get into, very expensive as well. And then number 4, the community and junior colleges. I like to tell some of my students, some of these colleges have on-campus housing. Not everyone is ready to take that first step into going into a 4-year university. And I believe that community college, junior college are great stepping stones if that is what you would like to do. And then number 5, which has been increasing lately within the last few years, is the technical and trade colleges. And since the pandemic, this industry has blown up a lot. A lot of them have on campus housing, they have meal plans, they're kind of structuring themselves in a community college, junior college kind of format as well. And so students who may want to do automotive tech, become an electrician, um, there's a plethora of things, can go to a trade school, stay there for maybe a year, maybe 16 months, get that trade, but still have what could be said as a similar college experience. All right. So here is what we like to tell our parents about college application process for ninth through 11th graders. This is like the best advice we love to give them. First one is determine what your teen is interested in as a career. The earlier you do that, the earlier your child will take high school more serious. They will take college more serious. They will not feel lost, and they won't be so uncertain. One thing that we do is we provide an assessment for all of our clients or either parents who contact us and they just want some help with their high school student and trying to guide them in where they should go, because in this amazing age, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of types of different career fields that a high school student can go into these days. They don't know about it or not aware about it, then how would they know if that's for them? We also suggest them getting super involved in extracurricular activities. Those have been amazing gateways to you figuring out what they want to do, networking with other youth. It's just been amazing. Finding a mentor, it's been amazing. And also job shadowing. Job shadowing is always amazing. I love when I hear students are job shadowing because two things are going to happen. They're either going to love what they were job shadowing, or they're gonna hate it. If they love it, you continue down that path. If you hate it, then it's been vetoed out of their mind, so you don't have to hear them ever bringing that up. That, oh, I want to be a veterinarian, and then they job shadow with a veterinarian. It was like, nah, I don't want no parts of that. I do not want to be looking at animals all day. So now you've eliminated that from their mind, and now they can focus on maybe something else they're interested in. Second thing is exposing them to colleges as soon as possible. I'm talking about freshman year, sophomore year, to taking college tours, going on preview days, going to college fairs. I think that we sometimes, as Black parents, think, oh, I'm just gonna wait till junior year, not realizing that junior year is a very intentional year on students focusing on like narrowing stuff down instead of they should just be getting freshly exposed to it. And so start having them go on college tours, have them visit relatives who are at colleges, let them start getting familiar with the college life, the college culture, so that they can already know, okay, I didn't like this campus. So when I go visit campuses that look like this, I don't like it. Okay, I don't like big city campuses. I want to go to a smaller campus. They can start weeding things out now. The earlier, the better. I think we have a question. Yes, you are right. TCC has Tarrant County College has College for Kids, an amazing program. Um, I knew somebody who worked for that program years ago, and she made all of her kids go through it so they can get the exposure. It's amazing. It happens in the summer. Uh, I, I love that program as well. Thank you for stating that, Miss Williams. Third one is make your high school students attend youth conferences and summits. What those do is that it exposes them to other youth besides their friends who may be on the same track as them, who may be interested in the same career field as them, who may can expose them to other opportunities that they may not even know of. Also, those conferences typically have career panels. They have scholarship opportunities and things like that, so that these ninth through 11th graders can already start making connections. They can already start getting exposed. Keyword is exposed. The earlier we can get our babies exposed to things, being aware of things, then senior year won't feel so foreign, won't feel so lost. Volunteer, definitely need to be volunteering. I suggest that you get high school students to volunteer as much as they can freshman year and sophomore year. Typically by sophomore year, junior year, they've already honed in on whatever extracurricular activity that they really enjoy. They may have a job. They start having a little life. So then their time gets kind of taken up and they don't have as much time to volunteer. So freshman year, I would say go hard. As people who look at college applications, they I think the golden number they told me is that they like to see 25 hours plus. Now, when I'm working with people who do scholarships or foundations who put out scholarships, they're typically looking for 50 hours or plus on applicants, unless they had a job. So make sure they are volunteering. Volunteering. I prefer that they volunteer in a field that they're interested in. If there's someone who wants to be a photographer or they're interested in the arts, then find them volunteer opportunities where maybe they can help people who direct plays or someone who needs someone to make their social media, help with their social media. So those were like opportunities to get you to volunteering, not just the same old, let's go pick up trash one day a month. More creative ways to volunteer that actually ties into the field of their study. And can't say this enough, parents and teens need to get to know the high school counselor. That does not mean kissing up to the high school counselor. That just means They know your name, you know their name, because when different organizations, scholarship foundations, opportunities, when they want to send them to high schools, the counselors and the principals are typically the first line of people they send those opportunities to. And if your counselor knows you and they know you have a particular interest, they know that you already expressed that like you want to start doing scholarships as early as possible, who do you think they're going to call as soon as they get those opportunities? The people that they know, the parents that they know. So don't just go see your high school counselor when it's time to make schedules. Drop in, grab their cards, send them emails, tell them you want to know when scholarship opportunities or any internship opportunities, anything like that pops up. And then finally, for ninth to 11th graders, building their academic resume is key. Like, this is the time to build it because what happens is after junior year, when seniors have to apply for college and they're asking what's all this stuff they've done, most of them can't speak on senior year because senior year either just started or it hasn't started. So colleges are going to be looking at what a student did their ninth through the 11th grade year. So that's the perfect time to be building on all these things I just got finished talking about. And then academics is the foundation. Let me repeat that again. Academics is the foundation. You won't be able to apply for any colleges if your grades, your GPA, your class rank is not where it is supposed to be. You will not get accepted to any schools with a 2.1 GPA, with 2.4. You won't be able to get accepted at least into maybe the schools that you are interested in or get accepted to the university's programs. So making sure that your grades are always on point and that you are always doing what you are supposed to be doing and that you're not just taking basic courses, but you are also um, kind of pushing yourself academically. And we'll talk about that a little later. Now, class of 2026, this is their time to shine right now. This is what we typically give to our clients in the summer of their of them going to their senior year, in preparations of preparing for their senior year, because the timeline that we give them is the summer, you start prepping for your college applications, and then once they open, because they open August the 1st. I know a lot of high school students don't even open them up until September, October, but they open up every year August the 1st. And so since they open up August the 1st, that's our key time that we try to push them to start doing those college applications. Oop, I think we have a question. Let me see. Yes, I'm definitely, and I'm going to be at the Yes Summit. So thank you, Miss Williams. Yes. Uh, the Yes Summit is a summit hosted by Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated Educational Foundation. I don't want to butcher the name, but it's based out of Arlington, Texas, but they plan this summit for youth all over the Dallas Fort Worth area. There's scholarship opportunities for high school seniors. There's vendors, there's booths, there's panels. Like it's grown into an amazing event. And this year we're excited because we'll get to be one of the vendors there. And we're suggesting everybody go, and if you're a high school senior, apply for their scholarship. The deadline is October the 10th. If you want the information, I can email you the information. So getting back to the timeline, this is what we tell our clients in the fall. Make sure that you try to finish all of your college applications before Christmas break. Before Christmas break, finish all of your college applications. Typically, earlier than that is key. If you're not going to do early action, early decision, that's key. But try to have them all done by then, and also try to also have your FAFSA done along that same time. And then in the spring, all you have to do is worry about how you're going to pay for it, which is doing scholarships or having conversations with your family about how you're going to pay for college and getting those acceptance letters and then deciding where you actually want to go. So that's the timeline we kind of give our clients. And then the summer of their senior year, we typically tell them they need to be already having this stuff right here already done, their activity resume, transcript. If they're going to retake the SAT or ACT, go ahead and schedule that. Essays, and then figure out how you're going to pay for all of these things. Now, Now this is kind of like the me going more into depth from the last slide. So this is the college application process senior year. I call it there's a part one and a part two. And our seniors, the seniors I work with, we probably spend the longest time on part one because that is the prep part. First thing we do, and we recommend this to any parent or family that's helping their child with the college application process, is to create a document where you research admissions deadline for your seniors college list. Now, if they don't have a college list, that needs to be the first thing that is done. But we're assuming people already have a list of colleges that they're interested in, want to apply to. Now, I'm going to click on this and show you what ours looks like for our clients. Typically, we have a spreadsheet. It's a Google Doc, and we go in and we put in the colleges they told us they're interested in. If you decide to apply early action, early decision, when is the deadline, when is the regular deadline, have you applied, does it require essay, does it require test scores, if you need letters of recommendation, what is the fee waiver, the college application fee, if you plan on having a fee waiver, do you have to send them your transcript? And what is the cost of attendance? We typically do cost of attendance just for your first choice on here. And then we always put the email address in case we have to contact admissions. And this is kind of like what we recommend for our clients. We provide this for our clients just so we can stay on top of this because it's easy for high school seniors and their families to just life be lifing. Like 1 minute you're on track with this, and then 2 weeks, 3 weeks go by, and just the schedules of everybody's, you don't know if this got finished, this got sent off, things like this. So this is how we keep track of those things. And then we always, all of our clients have to have some type of scholarship plan because we push debt-free education here at Pre-College Solutions. So all of our clients have to do some type of scholarship. There's a number me and their parents set on, and then it's our goal to make sure that they're reaching it. We also make sure that the student is involved. What is your scholarship goal? How much money do you want to obtain? How many scholarships that means you need to apply for, and how many you need to be doing per week. And so this is what we kind of use for keeping track of students. And I suggest before anybody starts applying anywhere, families, parents, mom, dad, student, create that, stay on track. The second thing is deciding if you're going to do early decision and early action. If a student does, then they need to know the two deadlines for early action and early decision is November the 1st and November the 15th. And that is a conversation to have with your child to see if they are serious about submitting their applications early, because that means they'll need to get all their stuff done, letters of recommendation, transcript, essays, all those things done. The best part about applying early action or early decision is that you find out if you've been accepted early. If you probably find out either before Christmas break or right when you come back from Christmas break. Whereas other colleges could make you wait well into February or March. depending on the university you have decided to apply to. Some universities, a lot of public universities, they will let you know within 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So it all depends on the university. And then number three, finish that activity resume. Send me a reaction if you have an activity resume, or if your senior has an activity resume, or you like, I don't even know what an activity resume is. What is that? I don't even know what that is. Just put a reaction. You can put it in the chat or send a thumbs up in the reaction. Okay. So I will, let's see. This is what an activity resume looks like. I suggest everyone do this before they start applying for colleges, because wherever you decide to apply to, there's going to be a section that asks what activities have you been involved in since your freshman year of high school. And if you have this, then all you have to do is cut and paste, cut and paste, cut and paste. All right. Cut and paste. Now, if you don't, you'll be just sitting in the application portal trying to remember every single thing you've done. And it's time consuming and it's frustrating. And then you might have to leave, come back because you don't remember any of this stuff you've did. But this is an example of a student we're currently kind of helping. Yeah. Well, no, we're not helping Ebony. Ebony done. But this was her first draft of one we helped her with. And so if you need the template, feel free to put it in the chat. We definitely can send you the template. And then also ask for letters of recommendation, even if the college applications, the colleges you're planning to apply to, don't ask for them. You can always use them for scholarships. So always ask for letters of recommendation. Take the SAT or the ACT over again if you don't like your scores. I highly suggest you take them again. See, definitely was seeing that template. Please take them again. But this is my word of advice as a college prep expert. The last time you should take the SAT or the ACT if you're applying for college as a senior is January. After January, do not take the SAT or the ACT anymore unless you're just trying to do it for a scholarship. Because what happens is okay, thank you. What happens is most universities deadlines, especially if you live in the state of Texas, their deadlines are March, sometime in March, either March 1st, March 15th. So that means if you take the test past January, you know you have to take the test, and then it takes about 2 to 3 weeks for it to get back. You never know if you're gonna meet that deadline on time. So don't take it past January if you do not have to, because it may not get to the college that you wanted to get to on time. Especially if you're doing early action, early decision. It don't even matter, because once you apply, most of them don't say go back and take the test over again. And then number six, what I have found has been what every high school senior tends to hate is writing the college essay. Now, most colleges may not ask for a college essay. I suggest everyone write one anyway, because you could transform that essay into a scholarship essay. Typically, some scholarships prompt are the same as the college essay. So if you write a really, really good college essay, you may have to tweak it a couple of sentences, maybe a paragraph here or there, but you can use that same one to apply for scholarships. I've seen it done over and over and over again, and people win scholarships off of it. So please know that. And then finally, the last one for part one is review your transcripts. Review your transcript. Nobody really takes this into consideration, but review your transcript. 1 out of 10 clients I probably have worked with, there's been an error on their transcript. And what happens if there's an error on your transcript is that it could take up to 2 months for the district, because the school can't change it. It has to go through the school district. They have to change it. And so when they have to change it, they have a whole process they go to, and it's up to 2 months for them to fix it. Now, while that's happening, you're being put on hold. Your whole application applying process is being put on hold. And so you do not want that to happen. All right. So once you do all of part one, now you can move to part two. And part two is basically you filling out your college applications. You're deciding if you're going to use the Common App, which you need to use it if you're going to apply out of state. If you're just doing schools in the state of Texas, then you use Apply Texas. If you're doing HBCUs, then you can do the Common Black application, which has most, not all, but it has most of the HBCUs. One application, you can duplicate it, and you can apply for multiple colleges at one time on all those platforms. So choose wisely which platform you decide to choose. All right. No, the second one is you got to send your transcript. All right. All of the universities require an official transcript. That means a student or a parent cannot go on the portal, print out the transcript they see in the portal, and mail it off. The transcript has to be official. It has to be sent from the school. It has to be a seal on it. There's a signature on it. And that shows the university that this has not been tampered with. Sometimes they send it electronically, but only the school can do it. And it shows that your grades, your ranking, none of your stuff has been tampered with, and that is the only way they take it. So until you send a request to whoever at your school is over that, they are in charge of sending off your transcript. You just have to follow up with them. And then number three, you need to send your SAT and ACT scores if you decided not to go test. If you decided not to go test optional. Um, and then finally, you have to pay the application fee or see if your school will provide you with a free fee waiver. Now, none of the universities will look at any of your college applications until they get the fee waiver or they get the application fee. And they'll email you 10,000 times and tell you, like, you're on hold, your application's on hold, your application's on hold, we haven't received anything. So make sure that you get all the stuff in part two done. And then once you do that, you've officially applied. You have applied to college A, B, C, and D, and you can be officially done with the process, and you're just waiting. You're just waiting to be accepted or find out if you are accepted. All right. I know that was a lot, but it's a lot to this process. And then for my parents who are on here, here's a little hack that we use here at Pre-College Solutions, because different type of kids, different type of personalities, boys, girls, it varies when you're trying to get, students to apply for college. One strategy we use is that depending on the student, we say, hey, let's apply to your first choice college first. And this typically helps out with our students that are very proactive, students who are been doing their own research, who are very adamant about getting into the university that they're interested in. We're like, well, let's go and get the first one out the way, because they're going to put their most effort into the first college that they apply to, and we let them do that one first and then come back and do all their second, third, fourth, fifth choices. Or our second strategy, and this is more for like our more carefree seniors who want to go to college, but like they don't necessarily get wrapped up in this whole process. They don't care about all the fine details and things like that. We tell them to apply for their easiest choice, their backup school. We tell them to apply for that one first. And typically what happens is they apply for that one first, and then they get accepted. And then once they get accepted, their mind frame changes, and then they start applying for all the other schools they're interested in, because they're like, hey, if Tarleton State accepted me, then let me go see if I can really get into the one I really want to get into. And so those are the two techniques we use here at Pre-College Solutions for our students, our challenging ones and our very proactive ones. Now, once you have got accepted into the universities you're interested in, and then you decide I'm going to go to this university, this is what happens next. All right. And we say don't wait on decision day. This is what happens next. You got to figure out housing. You got to make sure your financial aid is going to that school. You got to send them a final transcript after you graduate. You got to send them your TSI test scores. And that is very important. A lot of students don't think this is important, but that is very important because that determines if you're going to take remedial classes or not when you're in college. And remedial classes do not count towards your degree, and you still have to pay for them. So now it's taking up money. So you got to make sure you do well on TSI, and you got to make sure you send those scores. And then you got to send your meningitis shot records. And then you have to register for new student orientation. And once you've done these 6 things, you are officially what we called enrolled into the university that you plan on going into. And so you should have no problems, no errors, no problems, no errors. All right. And so I'm going to zoom through this kind of quickly. I just looked at our time. And so these are the things that no one tells Black parents about the college application process. And I wish they would. Number one, SAT and the SAT are key for merit-based scholarships. And if you have a student and they're not good at test taking or they hate taking standardized tests, I suggest getting them tutoring or test prep coaching, especially males. In my long line of doing this, males have the hardest time with test taking and test prep. And and it's not that they're not intelligent. They are super intelligent. They just don't like it. They feel like it is very time consuming. But coaching helps a lot. It's building up their academic confidence and it's changing their mind frame. And I've seen several young men, once they get test prep, they do extremely well on the SAT and the ACT. Secondly, determine what's the right academic fit for your child, whether it's being in an early collegiate program, or maybe they just want to take some dual credit classes, or maybe they want to just take some AP classes. Some students do a combination of all of these or all three. That's fine, but make sure you're setting your child up for success and for them to be able to go to college and adhere to the rigor, the academic rigor of being a college student and doing college student work. A third one, I think I said this earlier, high school counselors are key. Get to know them and let them get to know you. Make sure your teen is checking their email, especially during their senior year. They're going to get so many emails about college stuff. It's going to be overwhelming. It's going to be a lot. I suggest if you can create a secondary email before you start applying to these colleges, then you can use that email to kind of just be like your college email so that they don't blow up your personal email. Last year, I had a lot of students with I had, well, not a lot, but I had several students because they were getting so many emails. And there started to be a limit on how many gigabytes you can have. Students were missing emails from colleges and didn't even know it because they had reached their limit and they weren't deleting emails. They weren't having the process. And so that happened to maybe like 4 or 5 students I was working with, missing out on opportunities and college stuff because of that. So make sure get you a separate email if possible. National Decision Day should not be your child's decision day. I love National Decision Day. It's exciting, it's amazing, but a lot of students think that is the last time that they can, like, their deadline for making a decision to go to college, and that's not true. The earlier a child decides this is where I'm gonna go, then they'll get the early dates for new student orientation, for housing, for all the things. They can start getting their enrollment process done way before graduation. Because if you wait like everybody else does, that's when you end up on waiting lists. That's when you end up not getting the schedule you wanted or the room or dorm you wanted. Application appeal process, that is if you didn't get accepted into the university that you wanted to and you believe in your heart that's where you are supposed to be, you can do an application appeal. And it's basically talking to the university, asking, can you do this appeal process? They will tell you the items they need. They may ask you to retake the SAT or the ACT over. They may ask you to write an essay. They review it within a committee, and then you may get accepted into the school after their application appeal process. Like, they just review everything over again to see if you're a good fit, and then bam, you might get accepted. I said this earlier, but volunteering as correct extracurricular activities matter. They really do. Colleges really want to see a well-rounded student because they want a student that's not just smart, they want a student that's going to participate on their campus, be growing to be leaders for their campus. So they're looking at this extracurricular, this volunteering you're doing. The free tuition programs. I I'm pretty sure a lot of parents see this all the time, especially in the news where university pops up and they're like, "Hey, if your household makes less than $200,000, then you'll get free. It'll be a full ride to go here. Everything will be paid for." And yes, that is true. But what nobody mentions is that the university that has that, they're typically changing their application process and their admissions process to make it very difficult for you to get into that school. And I'm not saying don't apply to the school. I'm just saying don't be shocked if you're like, oh my gosh, they're asking for all of this. They're saying I need to be taking the SAT part two and all those things. Yes, because they know they're going to give away a free ride and they're going to make it harder for you to get accepted to that university. For anyone that has college students, I'm sorry, student athletes, you got to make sure that they can be able to get accepted to the university that they want to get in to play sports. I get student athletes, and a lot of them be like, "Oh, I'm going D1, D1." And I'm like, "Okay, what are your schools?" They tell me the schools. I look at their academics. I'm like, "Are you sure you're going to be able to get accepted into the University of Oklahoma?" And yeah, they want me. It doesn't matter. That is not true. That is not true at all. It's called student athlete. You got to be a student. You got to be accepted based on your academics before you can be an athlete at that university. So there are a lot of people in our community. Sometimes the fathers in our community, they understand that, but they don't understand that. And then finally, the hardest part is not about getting accepted. It's about how are you going to pay for college. And that's one thing nobody tells our Black parents, that I want to stand 10 toes down and make sure that I say, your child probably can get accepted into any school that they want. It's the you trying to figure out how to pay for it part that is the hardest. And the earlier you start trying to figure that out, rather making them do scholarships, maybe working, that's the best thing you can do. Because it's hard to tell a student that's worked super hard their whole high school career, took 10 million dual enrollment classes, AP, did all the extracurricular activities, that now they can't go to the school of their choice because you can't afford it and they can't afford it. So those are the things that I wish Black parents would know. And so I see that it's creeping on 6. So I'm just going to really quickly go into Pre-College Solutions, who we are, and a couple of our, excuse me, services. And so we are a college readiness coaching and consulting company based in the Dallas Fort Worth area. We are virtual, we are mobile, and what we do is we help families not only get their child ready for college, but we have a financial literacy aspect because our goal is college graduation, not just getting youth accepted into college. Over the past 5 years, 100% of our clients have graduated from high school. 87% have been enrolled. 75% have college retention, which means they go back every year. And 69% of our clients graduate from college with a minimum of $20,000 or less of student debt. And we're very pride ourselves on that a lot. These are the services that we offer for our families. We do parent and student workshops similar to what you guys are doing right now. We also do in person if you are in the Dallas Fort Worth area. We also provide scholarship services. We have a scholarship text group. We do one-on-one coaching for scholarships, and we have a scholarship subscription plan. We send customized scholarships to students and their families. So if you don't have time to do all of that looking for scholarships and researching, we send you a list. And then we also do student coaching, which is what we're in the thick of right now, is helping students with their college applications so they can get them submitted before Christmas break. And since you guys are on this Zoom call, we are doing a special $100 per month, up to 4 hours per month, college coaching services. And if you're interested in that or want to learn more about that, feel free to hit us up. Now, for people who are like, I can't afford that $100, the world is crazy right now, we're unsure. We have what we call our College Made Easy checklist, which is $20 and can be purchased on our website. It looks like this, and it starts from freshman year all the way to senior year, and it's a checklist of everything your child should be doing just so they can stay on top of this college prep. Because college prep is financial literacy, and if we get behind, then we're going to miss out on certain opportunities that our babies can be obtaining. And then only kept y'all 2 minutes over. And so we also do uh 20-minute consultations. Here's all of our contact information. We would love if you could follow us on social media. We're always producing content that talks about college prep, financial literacy. Right now, we're hitting it hard, real big with the FAFSA financial aid, which opens October the 1st. And next Sunday, we'll be having a workshop around the same time talking about the FAFSA and the financial aid process so our parents can understand that process so that they can make better and wise decisions when it comes to trying to figure out how to pay for college. All right. I thank you guys so much for your time, giving an hour to learn more about this process. You have our information now. You know who we are, so feel free to contact us if ever you need us. And I hope to send this video out tomorrow via email. Thank y'all so much. I believe we have a question. Comment. Thank you for you're welcome. You're welcome. I love the little bow tie by your name. But thank you, thank you, thank you. If there's any questions, please send them right now. I'll stay on for a minute or so to answer questions. If not, you all are free to leave.